This is Math Expressions Unit 7, Lesson 7. And as always, let's put our name up there, class number if you have one, and over here the date that you're working on this page. Alright, so this is going to be kind of a continuation of Lesson 6. We're going to be talking a lot about parallelograms and different kinds of parallelograms and writing out what we know about them, and also drawing some examples. So right here it says to draw parallelograms, and here's an example of one. Right, we have this side and this side are parallel, this side and this side are parallel. And so one of the things that I want to introduce to you is a way to talk about these is side A and C make a pair, right? They are a pair of sides. So that's the word, right, that I want to introduce you. And then B and D also make a pair of sides. A pair, of course, means two. So just another way to help us when we're writing about what we know about opposite sides, we could use that word pair, like I could say, the pair of opposite sides are parallel, or both pairs of opposite sides are parallel, things like that. Okay, so let's look at number 1 here. It says write what you know about the opposite sides of a parallelogram. So go ahead and right here, you can just pause the video and write what you want to write, and then start the video back up and check what I'm going to do, or you can just continue with me and then write it yourself. Okay, so if you're with me, I'm going to say that we know that both pairs, there's that word, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. That's one of the things that we know about a parallelogram, right? That both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. But we also know, and I guess I should have capitalized that B. We also know that both pairs of opposite sides, can you guess what I'm going to write here next? Are the same. What's the word going to be? They're also so I'm looking at like this side B and this side D. They are parallel to each other, but they are also the same what? Length. There we go. All right. And then over here on number 2, looking down here at number 2, where it says to draw 3 different parallelograms. So use this grid as a way to show your parallelograms that you're going to be drawing. And then when you're ready, we'll go on to the next page. Alright, so if you have those drawings done, let's go ahead and go on to the next page. And of course, even though there's not a line up there, let's put our information up there that we're doing this. Alright, on this page, we're going to be drawing rectangles and writing about rectangles. And so a rectangle is a kind of a parallelogram. It's a quadrilateral, right? So here we go. Write number 3. Write everything we know about the opposite sides of a rectangle. Everything we know about the opposite sides. So what do we know about the opposite sides here of this rectangle? Okay, so go ahead on here, and you can look back, what you wrote here, and maybe that'll help you with what you can write there. So pause the video, go ahead and write what you're going to write there, and then start the video back up, and we'll go on to number 4. Okay, so basically, hopefully everything that you wrote over here, that both pairs of opposite sides are parallel and both pairs of opposite sides are the same length, that applies to the rectangle as well. And now I'm going to introduce this vocabulary of this box that says adjacent sides. Adjacent sides means the sides that they kind of touch each other. So like if this was side A and this is B, they touch each other right here, right? They touch each other in the corner, they connect. Whereas A and C don't, right? And B and D don't. So those sides, these are A and C are opposite sides, B and D are opposite sides, but A and B are adjacent, B and C are adjacent, C and D are adjacent, and D and A are adjacent because they touch each other, right? So on number 4 here it says, what do you know about the adjacent sides of a rectangle? And this goes back, I'm going to give you a little hint here. This goes back to that square in the corner and what that square means. So go ahead and pause the video and write what you think that is there. And then when you're ready to go, start the video back up. Okay, and so now we're going to go down here. And again, we're going to draw 3 different rectangles. So use that space to draw 3 different rectangles. And then when you're ready, we'll go on. All right, so let's go ahead and go on to the next page. And of course, we're going to put our name and number up there at the top. And the date that you're working on this page over there. And then on this page, we're going to be doing 2 different things. We're going to be talking about squares and rhombuses. And so, of course, this is the square and this is a rhombus, although, right, there are some things about the square that make it special. All right, so let's look at number 6. So it says to write everything you know about squares. Well, if we go back to the previous page, write everything you know about the opposite sides of a rectangle, write what you know about the adjacent sides of a rectangle. Remember that a square is a type of a rectangle, right? So that will help you write what you're going to write. So on this space right here, pause the video and write everything you know about squares. Okay, so now hopefully you're ready to go on number 7. This time, write all that you know about rhombuses. And you're going to see that you are writing the same thing over and over and over again. And that's kind of on purpose, right? So go ahead, pause the video, write what you're going to say there, and then when you're ready, we'll go on. All right, so the last one here, over here, we're going to draw 2 different squares and 2 different rhombuses. So you might like cut your graph in half or something like that. And then over here on the left side, over here, draw your squares, and over here, draw your rhombuses. So 2 different squares and 2 different rhombuses. And then when you're ready, we'll go on. All right, then let's go on to the last page here. So again, every page, even though you might be doing this all in the same sitting, but every page, name, number, and date. Okay, so on this page, we're going to be drawing quadrilaterals that are not squares, rectangles, or rhombuses. So we're going to first go over and what is a quadrilateral, right? Some questions, and then down below we're going to draw quadrilaterals that are not squares, not rectangles, and not rhombuses. Okay, so the first thing is, what is a quadrilateral? And you'll have to go back and look at your lessons to remember, previous lessons, to remember what does quad mean, lateral. We're going to be using lots of words that we've been looking at. We're going to be looking at parallel, polygon. So polygon, maybe parallel, adjacent. We're going to be talking about angles, maybe. I gotta tell you, I have a hard time with angles and angels. I mix them up, but I believe that's angle. Oh, it is, because the E makes the G. So that's an angle. Oh, I see now. Okay. Right? So, pairs. So there's lots of words that we're going to maybe be using in this to write what we know about these things. So look at number 9. What is a quadrilateral? So just to pause the video and write what is a quadrilateral. Okay, so hopefully you're ready to go on to number 10. So number 10 says, name all the quadrilaterals that have at least one pair of parallel sides. So again, we have to go back and remember quadrilaterals that have at least one pair. So even if it has one pair of parallel sides, that's what they're asking you to. So the names like rectangles and squares and rhombuses and trapezoids and right, all those things. So which of those is a quadrilateral with at least one pair of opposite sides? So go ahead and write those down there, and you can look back at your previous lessons to remember how to spell things. And when you're ready to go on, let's look at number 11. Okay, so number 11, it says to draw 3 different quadrilaterals. This is our drawing that are not squares, not rectangles, and not rhombuses. So again, you can refer back to the previous lessons. You can look up at these shapes, because some of those would work for down here. And then when you're done, that's the end of lesson 7.